when I reverse engineered the whole thing, I discovered that it's not that I really wanted to be with the guy. It was more like, oh, if this guy can make me his girlfriend, that means I have value. And that means that my self-worth was so low, I felt unworthy, that I needed somebody's approval. I needed a man's validation to make me believe in my own worth. I was like, okay, so now I get it. And so I don't need any man's validation, any man's approval to feel that I'm worthy. So I need to work on, why do I feel I am not worthy? That's where the real problem is. And so instead of trying to convince the guy to give us a chance so that I could feel good about myself, I needed to work on myself to feel good about myself. And that changed everything. Hi, my name is Amina. I'm a life coach, and I'm here to help you get some perspective, to help you solve your problem if you have questions and things like that. So if you have questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If you like what I do here, please subscribe, like, and share, and help me spread the word and grow this channel. Today, the title of the video is Don't Chase, Don't Beg. And I want to talk about this because I've noticed that many women, when they are with a guy that don't treat them right, they tend to stick around. And they, if they want to be married with a person, they're gonna sometimes chase, beg if they're not together. And if they're together, they will stick around and accept all kinds of disrespect and, something that's not good for them. And so I want to talk about that, because I won't say I have been in this situation, but I have been a few times in a one-sided relationship. So I was interested in being with a person, but the person was either not interested, or I'm just thinking about one situation in particular. So we were together kind of, but it was very negligent. So I still stick around, and yeah, it was kind of, I won't say I was not chasing, not begging, but it kind of looked like that. Yeah, it wasn't that extreme. And so for the situations where the person was not interested and I was, it was mostly like the guy gave me mixed signals, and so I didn't know if the guy was really interested or not. But the guy was the guy kept saying, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship. I don't really remember what the guy said, but yeah, it was something like, I am not interested in being with you. But the behavior was showing that he wanted to be with me. So I was a little confused, and that happened like 3 or 4 times. And in those cases, I still stick around, because I thought that, oh, maybe at some point the guy would make a decision and give us a chance. But that didn't happen. And I'm not really here to talk about the process of begging and chasing, but mostly to talk about what's behind the behavior. When you're interested in a person and you want to be with them, but they tell you they don't want to be with you, whether they send you mixed signals, like in my case, or they show you clearly that they don't want to be with you, if you tend to not move on, you have a problem. And I'm gonna take my case. So I clearly saw that I had the mixed signals. So if you have the mixed signals, if the guy is not ready to do something serious with you, just move on. Don't try to hope. Don't stick around because you hope that things are going to change. And I like this quote by Stefan Speaks, and he says, indecision is a decision. So if the guy doesn't want to decide to be with you, don't try to hope that things are going to get better, because things can get better and he can decide to be with you or not. And if he doesn't do that, you will have wasted your time, and that's something that I don't want. And I remember a guy, we were together on and off. That's what we say, but yeah, we know exactly that when he's off, he's doing his stuff. But yeah, because I was still naive, I was believing that I'm here, we don't see each other, he is over there, so I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest. But yeah, so when the guy came back to me, so he was doing like, today we are together, and then he disappears, and then he comes back and he disappears, and then he comes back and he disappears. And for me, every time, because I didn't know, but for me, the fact that he came back meant that, oh, he was interested, or he was still interested. But the more I listen to guys and relationship coaches online, the more I understand the behavior. So I don't take those BS stuff anymore. But at the time, I didn't know. And so at some point, because the guy couldn't make a decision, I was asking, oh, give us a chance, kind of begging. And yeah, I'm thinking about that, I'm really embarrassed just thinking that I did that. I was asking, I wanted to convince the guy to give us a chance. I was not like, oh, at your feet, please give us no. But I was finding arguments. I am a very logical person, by the way. So for me, 1 + 1 = 2. So if I see that, okay, we have this, we have that, things are working great, we get along well together, why not being together? So for me, that was the logic. So I was, in my case, giving him reasons to give us a chance. Okay, well, don't you see that don't you see that we get along really well together, so we should try. That was my way of begging. Oh, and I remember one day I was in the bus, and I think that's the image that I have in mind that made me realize that I am no longer doing this. And I was telling the guy, oh, please, you should give us a chance. Why are you so afraid? Why this? Why that? Blah, blah, blah. And the guy was telling me, oh, no, I am not ready. I will be ready when whatever. So, yeah, we don't even need to expand on that. But, yeah, and over time when I thought about this, I realized that I would say in all of those cases, in all of those situations, I had that belief that if I can manage to become this guy's girlfriend, that would mean a lot. That would mean that, oh, I'm capable of being with that kind of person. So that means I have value. So that means I'm worthy. And so when I reverse engineer the whole thing, I discovered that it's not that I really wanted to be with the guy. It was more like, oh, if this guy can make me his girlfriend, that means I have value. And that means that my self-worth was so low, I felt unworthy, that I needed somebody's approval. I needed a man's validation to make me believe in my own worth, in my own value. And so when when the light, when I had the aha moment, like Oprah would say, I was like, okay, so now I get it. And so I don't need any man's validation, any man's approval to feel that I'm worthy. So I need to work on, why do I feel I am not worthy? That's where the real problem is. And so instead of trying to convince the guy to give us a chance so that I could feel good about myself, I needed to work on myself to feel good about myself. And that changed everything. And so I don't know, I believe a lot of people who are in this situation of still begging and asking and trying to convince, like me, arguing, but not like fighting, but like giving reasons to give us a chance. It's because they don't believe in their own value, and they need to be with that, the how can I call this? That beautiful lady, that handsome man, the guy that is wanted by everyone. If this guy that is so popular, if that guy can want Amina, that means Amina has value. But yeah, if you find yourself in the situation of being willing to share a man, so that's another situation as well. So it's not just the begging and chasing or the trying to convince. It's also accepting to share a man. It's accepting to be with a guy that doesn't value you. It's accepting to be with somebody who disrespects you. It's accepting to be with somebody who doesn't want to marry you after 15 years being together. Being with somebody, a guy who give you babies, but he is not ready to move to the next level. That kind of stuff. So the begging, the chasing, the sticking around with the wrong person, the sticking around with somebody who doesn't value you. Why do you do that? You need to check what's going on inside of you. So I think I wrote some tips here. Yes, and something else that was also going on is that I was depressed at the time, and I felt lost, and I had no purpose in life. So that added to all that, it wasn't a good cocktail. So let's just say it. So before we move on to some tips to help you get out of that situation mentally, I wanted to let you know that I have a one-on-one coaching service. So if you're interested in working with me, you can reach out to me through my website using the link in the description box. And I also have a blog, and I talk about the same kind of subjects, not exactly the same. So if you're interested, you can give it a shot, and thank you for your support. So some things you can start to do to change the situation. So number one is, let's see, the things I will present it that way. The things that I did to help myself get out of the looking for a man's validation. So the first thing that I did was I focused on myself, and I examined myself. So I wanted to know, what is that thing that make me think that I am not worthy? So I did some research, and I cannot really tell you. I think the first thing that I looked online was the imposter syndrome. So the whole thing started from there. It was related to something else. I think it was related to work, but then with that, he opened the door to other research, and I discovered lots of things, lots of different people, coaching and everything. And so all that worked together. So I did lots of introspection, doing the work to understand myself. But also something that really helped me is when I did my certification to become a life coach. I learned a lot about myself. So I think that was just one big thing that really helped me. So I'm not telling you go become a life coach if you're not interested. In this case, you could work with a therapist, and I would mostly recommend that, because a therapist will tell you everything, at least if it's a good one. So that's a good start. Once I was done with the introspection, and I cannot really say that because I do it all the time, but once I pinpoint that problem, that it was my self-worth, I then decided to work on accepting myself. So I am not the most beautiful woman on the planet. I'm not the most sexy woman on the planet, the most intelligent, whatever. And like Stefan Speak says, I cannot be everybody's cup of tea. Not everyone will like me, and that's okay. I am the way I am, and the people who will be interested in me will be interested in me. Just like me, I won't be interested in every man. So that's something that is really important. So if somebody doesn't want you, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Just leave them alone and keep moving, because at some point you're gonna find the right person for you. But don't insist if somebody doesn't want you. If they're clear, no, just leave it like that and move on. Accepting myself, reclaiming my worth, and refusing to feel worthy by anybody's chasing or looking for anybody's approval. I made that decision. I'm gonna decide that I'm worthy because I'm worthy, because I'm alive. So I am not less than anybody or more than anybody else. And that's the decision that I made. Something else that I did was to up my standards and to work on my selection process. So up my standards, it's what am I looking for in a man? What do I want? What do I need? What do I feel is important? And so we hear about the list. Some people don't like it, and I believe that you should just put what's really, really important on that list. You don't need to say that you need to have a blue hair, for example, because that's not the most important. For me, it's about character. The person needs to be kind. The person needs to be loyal, respectful, faithful. That kind of stuff. And that you can find it everywhere if you look. But if you have something too specific, it's not gonna work. And yes, and something that was really important is I was more afraid to lose myself than to lose a man. I needed to get to that point, because losing myself meant that I was chasing and begging, and I didn't want that. I was more interested in validating myself and feeling comfortable with myself no matter what. I didn't need any man to give me their approval. Okay, so I hope that everything that I said here was helpful. I can do a recap. So I believe that people who chase and beg and who stick around in situations that are not good for them are wounded, like I was, and I still am, but at least I'm getting out of that thing. And so look for what's inside of you that is making you think that you don't deserve more. if you're ready to share a man, what makes you think that you don't deserve to have a man just for you? Some women are comfortable with that. That's not the case for me, because I'm not willing to share anyways. But yeah, if you in that situation, if you're comfortable with that, it's in your value, good for you. But if that's not the case, if you're willing to share, man, if you chase, if you beg because you think that being with that person will make you feel worthy, you need to do the work. See a therapist. Focus on yourself. Examine yourself. Do lots of introspection. Try to understand what's going on. Accept yourself. Reclaim your worth. Up your standards using a list. So list everything that is important for you, and be careful with your selection process. You can use the list to help you with that, but use your intuition. If you feel that this guy is not good for you, no matter what he can say or the way he can present himself, don't go with it. If something in you tells you no, don't go there, just listen to that. Believe me, it's gonna save you a lot. And have as a mantra that you're afraid to lose yourself. You are more afraid to lose yourself than to lose a man. Okay, so that's it for today. So if you like what I do here, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. If you have questions and suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. And so my question for you today is, do you remember a situation where you insisted to be with somebody that didn't want to be with you? And looking back now where you are, what was the reason that for you to insist at that time? Does any of what I said resonate with you? You can leave your response in the comment section, or even you can use my email, because I'm very interested in learning your situation. So I will leave you here. So in the meantime, I wish you a good week, and I will see you later. Bye.